a suicidal crisis. I said, I'm having a crisis. And so they hung up on me, and the call ended abruptly. 6:34 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, October 20th, 2012. So I called back to tell you that I'm having a crisis. Now, according to the preamble on the that you, when you call this number, it says if you're having a crisis or something to the effect that you're having a suicidal crisis, you're welcome to call this number. Right. So I'm calling this number because I'm having a crisis. So, but they hung up on me. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that you seem to be unwelcome if you're not killing yourself. If you're killing yourself, if you're hanging yourself from a rope, if you're shooting yourself with a gun, if you're jumping off a bridge, you're welcome to come call us. But if you're not, well, call somebody else. Call somebody else. So. Oh, it's not the case. Oh my God! You say when I just said it was not actually true. You say, well, obviously, but you're asking the same question. You ask. I said. You say it says it's according to the preamble. According to the preamble, if you have a suicidal crisis or a crisis, there's two different things. There's a crisis. There's suicide. They're not exactly the same. So what are you asking? You're asking if I'm going to kill myself, or am I in a crisis? Right. But I know. But the thing is that you should at least not hang up on a person. Well, but of course they hung up on me. Well, yeah. Well, then you know my name. Now, how do you know my name? The reason I'm asking is because I'm curious. Who am I? Who am I? Yeah, but how do you know? You said Hank. How do you know my name is Hank? Well, what you called in the past, but still, how do you know my name? That's not necessarily the case. I mean, a person with speaking English calls you, and then says speaks words, and then you say, Hank. How do you know my name is Hank? Maybe I'm Alfredo. How do you know my name is Hank? Well, you just said Hank, so tell me, just be blunt. How do you know my name is Hank? All right, so you have previous records of my calls, and therefore, how do you? But still, how do you identify me? How did you know it was me, not somebody else? How did you know it was me? I mean, I'm just asking. I mean, is that too much to ask? I mean, it's a simple question. How did you know my name is Hank? I'm asking, and the time is, of course, 6:43 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on October 20th, 2012. How do you know it's me? How do you know it's Hank? Previous records of your call. But still, that is, previous records of your call, previous records of somebody named Hank calling. But how do you know that the person you're talking to now is named Hank? No, you're not being forthcoming. Just say it. Do you have caller ID? You do have you have caller ID, so that means that's how you know that you're talking to Hank, right? Oh well, my God, she has been forthcoming. Oh my Lord, the federal government has actually spoke the truth. What'd you say? All right. So anyway, like I was saying, the Central Intelligence Agency, i.e., the CIA, has told me this: the VA is hell, and they are hell. I mean, they're flat out hell. I mean, hell, of course, is the most despicable place you can be in the world. I mean, really. So I'm in the most despicable place in the universe, i.e., I'm in hell. But hell does not want to answer. You know why? Because they don't have to. Why don't they have to? Because of the federal government. The federal government cannot be fired. If I work for the federal government, I cannot be fired. That is, I keep my job forever and ever and ever. I make $40,000 a year, and no one can just tell me otherwise. Now, why do I say $40,000? Because that's how much they make, at least a minimum. These motherfuckers make $40,000 a year for doing nothing. For doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm calling the Suicide Prevention Hotline. They do nothing. They do absolutely nothing. All they do is just gibberish. Now, if I was President Obama, let's say I am, hypothetically, I could fire all these people and make lots of savings. So I would recommend to you, President Obama, fire the VA. Fire all the people that work for the Veterans Administration. Fire all the people that work for the Department of Veterans Affairs. Fire them all. And hire it to other countries, other companies. And better yet, let Mitt Romney be the president, because he will certainly do so. So, my advice to President Obama: let Mitt Romney be president. And tell Mitt Romney the secrets. Tell him that you fire all the Department of Veterans Affairs people. Fire them all. Get rid of every one of those motherfuckers. Hi, Alice. How you doing? I'm talking to myself. Yeah, I'm talking to myself while I was waiting for you to answer. Well, the phone call, actually. The phone call. I was talking about the phone call. The phone call to you. The suicide prevention hotline. I was talking about you. You all. So, I was hung up on twice. So this is the third attempt to call you. What do you think about that? Yeah, well, the first time it happened sort of seemed like spontaneously. The second time it's happened deliberately, I think. And this is it seemed like they were deliberately hung up on me. And then the third time, of course, is now. So, I'm just trying to employ my college degree. I have a BA from Ohio State University. And one of the things we learned in college was language. And then, of course, the language that they employ when you answer, when you're listening to the sounds of the music, it says, if you're in an emotional crisis, or you know a veteran who is emotionally crisis, etc., etc., we are here to help. But evidently, are you a veteran who knows someone who is in emotional crisis? Did you hear that part? No. I'm just no. Have you ever listened to the preamble? Not you. Let's say you call 800-273-8255. Have you ever called that number? No. Oh well. Have you heard what the sounds, what verbiage, what language they use when you call them? Well, anyway, I've listened to it. It doesn't say are you trying to commit suicide. It says, are you in emotional crisis? Or do you know someone who's a veteran? Anyway. So, that being said, a person who might be in an emotional crisis might want to call this number. But the first thing out of your mouth is, are you considering suicide? So what I'm trying to tell you is that the people that answer the phone, that is yourself, who I'm assuming work for the Department of Veterans Affairs, ask the first question, are you considering suicide? You're not asking, are you in an emotional crisis? You're asking, are you considering suicide? So I was thinking about that when I was waiting for you to answer. So, yes, I am in sort of a crisis situation. If that's well, yesterday when I was waiting around talking to my friends, I realized that something had occurred that I had never realized might occur, and so I was frightened, and I stood there in the room and I said, my dears, I'm afraid. I don't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I mean, I literally was beyond myself. So that was the thing. And then today it's the same way. I'm in a state of fear. But the thing is, though, you're going to ask me, are you interested in killing yourself? Do you have a plan to kill yourself? Etc. etc. The reason I ask that because I'm familiar with your language. What the protocol, the things you say before you hang up on someone. So I've called twice. I got hung up on immediately. The first time I called. The second time I called. They hung up on me deliberately. I mean, without me, saying boo. And now you're talking to me, and I'm assuming you're gonna say certain things, and you're gonna ask certain questions, and then a certain outcome will occur. So, and the reason I ask that is because, I'm actually recording this conversation. Are we talking? I'm actually recording it. Let's see how long. We're at 14 minutes and 26 seconds. So I'm actually recording you. So just so you're aware, and the reason I say that because I did research as an undergraduate, and so there's this thing called the Institutional Review Board, IRB, which means if you're gonna do research on an individual or individuals, have to follow certain protocols, and that's called and that comes under the umbrella of the IRB, Institutional Review Board. And actually, I'm taking a class on quantitative aspects of public health, which of course comes under the under the umbrella of people who are contemplating suicide and or are in emotional crisis, particularly veterans. So I have to do my first full-blown assignment by the 24th of October, according to the instructor at Harvard. So I have to kind of like follow the rules. He didn't say we have to actually follow the IRB rules, but since I know what the IRB rules are, I'm trying to kind of like force myself to submit to the IRB. So, do you feel like you're a vulnerable population? Do you feel like you're in a position where your livelihood might be compromised by my interviewing you as a researcher? Wait. They're really supposed to be what? They're really supposed to be right. So the conversations are supposed to be about me. Okay. Well, they can be about me, of course. And just because I'm doing research as a student doesn't mean they can't be about me. That doesn't preclude them being about me. Well, no, I didn't say I was interviewing you. I was just saying I was recording the conversation for purposes of school. No, I didn't say they were. I'm interviewing you for the class. I said I was interviewing you. I was recording the conversation. Well, I just wanted to know. I just want to know if you decided that when I was reporting that I was recording the conversation, did you feel that was something that was you were comfortable with? Yeah, well, it's between you and I. Now, the thing is, when I was taking a class, no, I was doing research as an undergrad. Well, wait. So I can screen, I can make you anonymous. I can make you invisible. So therefore, you don't have to be afraid about being identified as a federal worker because I can make you invisible. It means I can make you not exist. Yes, yeah, that's it. That would be the case. And so, being in a crisis, yesterday when I was hanging around with my friends, I became aware of certain circumstances that well basically were unimaginable. And so I stood up in the room and I said, I'd like to talk to some of you, but I don't know who to talk to. And none of my friends said they could talk to me. So I couldn't talk to anybody. So literally I had to hold it all in. And so tonight I decided, well, I have to talk to somebody about this. So that's why I called you. So basically, it was something that I wanted to talk about very, very vigorously yesterday. about this time, but I couldn't because of my friends. I felt wouldn't understand, so I decided to call you today. Well, one thing is that I when I was an undergraduate at the university I was at, I was a pre-law student. That is, someone who had intentions of being a law student. That is, someone pursuing a Juris Doctor. That is, become a lawyer. And so, therefore, I'm very careful about what I say. And so, given that particular training, I would say that because you yourself have already admitted that you have a certain tendency, basically, from what you said and because of things I've understood from this hotline, that you want to know if a person is trying to commit suicide, or B, has intentions of in the future committing suicide, or C, has already developed a plan to commit suicide. You'll ask those questions. So, A, I don't want to commit suicide. B, I have no plans to commit suicide. C, I have no desire in the future to commit suicide. So I say that because mostly because of my training as an undergraduate. When I was a graduate student, had similar training, but most of that was research into a phenomena called medical research. So, no, I don't want to commit suicide. B, I have no desire to commit suicide. C, I have no plans in the future to commit suicide. And that's the most important thing for you, because all that you really care about is people trying to kill themselves, which is I think is a very honorable position. I mean, if I was working for the federal government, I was working for the federal government of the United States of America, and I want to try to prevent people from killing themselves, I think that would be a good thing. I mean, I would definitely pay people money for that kind of activity. So now that you've been paid for that thing, but the crisis does not relate to suicide. Well, that's a revelation, my dear. That's a revelation, because in the previous conversations with people, the only thing you were interested in was, are you going to kill yourself? They don't really care if you're in a crisis. They don't care if you're in a crisis. All they care about is if you're right. Well, anyway. So yeah. But now that we reached the critical hour, that is 23 minutes and 42 seconds, and given the fact that I have to put this on YouTube, I'm going to curtail the conversation and say, simply speaking, that my name is, I'm going to tell you what my name is. And you probably know my name, because you know how you know my name? Because of caller ID. You know my name for caller ID. And the date, of course, is October 20th, 2012, and the time is approximately 7:03 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, which of course would be 10:03 Eastern Time, where you are in New York. And I'm not going to talk to you anymore because I want to put this on YouTube. But here's the thing. This is a misnomer. This is a misnomer. The entire operation of this hotline is a misnomer. That is, people call this with a misunderstanding